Hello guys, hope you're doing well. This video is the K0-Pro firmware update on devs fee, but it's a free download firmware, so you can download it for free, installed on any of your K0-Pro. Now the versions you can install for free is between 260 to 280, I believe, right? There's 260, 270, and 280, and then if you need 300, 320, 340, and 360, you need to provide a photo of your heatsinks installed, because it's very important for MOSFETs, because your temperature is going to overheat on your MOSFET, and your miner can be damaged pretty quickly. So, but these are the three of the miners that I have right here. They've been working already with MOSFET heatsinks installed for a long time. So right now I installed the it's almost for 2 days. I let them run for different versions of the overclock. So I have 300 version installed, 320 and 340. There 360 I haven't not been successful in 360. I don't know, I tried on this one that takes 340, and it doesn't seem like it would take that overclocks. So it's all your silicon lock. Like I said, don't try to overheat your device, or if it's constantly restarting, you may not have silicon lock in your silicon lattice on your chips, so you have to switch to the next until you find the best performing overclocks for your miners. So obviously, like this one, I couldn't even get the 280, but now it's running on 300 version, and it's running pretty stable, like you see. And this one is a dev fee version, so you could see it's been 1 day 21 hours, this two, and this one is 1 day 20 hours, almost also 21 hours, because I almost installed the overclocks at the same time. So let's take a look at the on the accepted shares first, because that's where you sometimes get paid by the pool. So you have 6,500 here, 50, 6,962, and 7,000 on the highest version, but it's not being the same time. These two are exactly the same, 21 hour and 39 minutes, so they're pretty much close by together. This one is about an hour away, so that's why it's a little bit less. For 340 it's supposed to be a higher accepted share. So that's first thing. The one more thing that I want to mention is the firmware version. If you had the paid firmware version, and this one is a free firmware version, you can't tell the difference by looking on WebGUI or here in Iceriver Monitor tool, because the name is on K0-Pro is exactly the same, not as a K0 original, Ks3M and KS3. You can tell the difference by the name of the firmware, but this the latest on K0-Pro, the paid firmware and the free firmware with the dev fee look exactly the same. So you have to make, if you purchase before firmware, just you have to label your miners so you don't mix them around, because the free version you can install on any of the miners. The paid version you can only install on the one you purchase for your MAC address. So be really careful about that, so you don't mix those up if you get in more K0-Pros. Now let's take a look on the WebGUI real quick, and then we'll take a look on the pool. Those two are matters as well. Alright, so you could see on the WebGUI we have same. Let me refresh this, all three miners. It's number 3, 4, and 5. You can say by my miner number here. This is number 4, this is number 3, right? And then 1, 2, and 6, 7 I have on the paid overclocks. And the reason I left it for paid overclocks, so we can compare them, you know, side to side, and how they perform. So for example, this one running on 320 version, my number 1, and on the WebGUI This one is on the free version, number 3 right here. This is 300 gigahash, and this one is 300. So they perform absolutely identical. There is no difference on the paid or free version. So the only difference is you get the small fee, 0.5% on the dev fee on the free version, which is really, you can't even notice on the rewards. So if I would update now my miners, I would use the free version with the dev fee, because the difference is very insignificant and you don't need to come out upfront with a payment. You just collect your Caspa and you'll get deducted small amount, which I don't think you even gonna notice. So let's take a look on 320. So that's 320 version and my 320 on number 4 right here. So it makes 330 gigahash, 334 30 minutes, and it's 324, 329 on the paid version, which is a little bit lower, but it was performing also 331, 334 before on the paid version. So this miner was a little bit better performing before, and so it is right now. And that's my 340 version, which performs 348, 343 as supposed to, and this is free version. And on my paid version, 340 performs exactly identical. So you can see on the rejected shares, roughly about the same on the firm and paid, very little percentage, almost like less than 0.1%, which is very, very low. Only 2 shares, and that sometimes goes by the internet interruption or some kind of reset on the network. So I have only 1 rejected share here on the other paid version, and then 3 here on the free version, 16, 1 on this one, and similar on the paid version, 415. So my 300 version here, the paid version, for 3 days got 15 reduction shares. I think this one is the highest, so you may just need to make sure that miner is performing really well. It's just a silicon probably that's not taken. However, it reports a lot higher than 320 hash rate, so there is a little bit of adjustment probably done by those rejection shares. Now let's look at the pool. So I have, let me refresh that. So I do have this on the pool. You could see I have number 1, 2 is my paid version, and we're looking at 24 hours, guys. Always look at 24 hours hash rate, because if you look at 15 minutes and 1, it fluctuates a lot. Now this is a hum pool. That's my favorite right now for KS0 and KS0 Pros. They performing absolutely good for me. S3 and Ks3M works the best for me on K1 pool. I don't know why, but that's just for me. You have to check your connection to pool. If it's works out well, you just pick the pool that performs best for you. Now, so let's take a look on the free version. So we have this one is 300, performs at 293 on the pool, about the same as the paid version, 294. So very, very close next to each other on the hash rate. And then my KS0 number 4, that's on 320 version, performs at 334, which is really close to, well, it's actually higher than my other 320 version here. It performs at 320. So it's been performing actually a little bit better on the hash rate. Now, the fifth one on 340 version performs slightly less than 340, 335, but there may be a small adjustment that's been made. I don't know. Sometimes it gets adjusted, and then you could see there it's actually 357, 342, and the 24-hour rate get adjusted in several hours. Takes sometimes 3-4 hours again to get adjusted. But overall, I think they're performing very identical and not very bad at all. So if I would just get the new Ks0-Pro, which I did a couple of them, I would put them on the free version with the dev fee, because they're very insignificant difference on the on that payment, 0.5% on the dev fee, but on the pool you don't see the difference. And I didn't notice any difference on the payout performance. So let's take a look on my spreadsheet, but before we do that, let's take a look on the Caspa. Let's take a look at the Caspa hash rate. Network hash rate went up and hit the highest, 183 pentahash. That was my prediction for the end of the January, but it kind of slowed down the January end. But I think right now we're gonna see a higher increase of the network hash rate, and it just because the new miner, like you all know, being released, that it's BMX or whatever it is, that performs 10.5 terahash. So yes, it's BMKS Max, the new miner, that it's 10.5 terahash reported here on the miner's profitability on ASIC miner value website, and it's been the highest profitability of all the Caspa miners as of today. So it's supposed to do $74 a day, which is about almost double of the Ks3M. Almost double, not quite, but it's pretty close, just because of it's using same power amount. And I guess if you're higher electricity cost, like if you're like 15 cents or something like that, then you'll be definitely a lot better with this newer miner, because it's gonna perform a lot better, more than 50% better in the reward per day. Anyway, so let's take a look on the network hash rate, right? So we've been so high on the hash network, all over or close to 170 pentahash. I like the miner stats, which gives us the history of average hash rate per day. So yes, we are around 171 pentahash here as well. So I'm kind of expecting this network hash rate gonna go up higher. So before, if you've seen my video, I was like counting that end of January gonna hit 180, but it actually didn't go over 170 quite, right? So over here we were at 169, so I had to adjust it slightly. But then now I'm thinking by the end of my February prediction is 195, maybe is not good enough. It may go even higher with this new bigger ASICs. Again, it depends how many of those miners were released in the first batch, but again, the second batch is probably not gonna be available, and if it's sold, we're gonna see this higher increase. So potentially it's gonna go a lot higher, and we'll have to adjust this percentage for our formula to see where we are. But regardless, let's take a look at how we did for the last 3 days on the on this KS3, which running on this new firmware, just to show you the difference between couple days before. So yeah, those are my 7 miners that it's on the hump pool. And you know, there really is the hash rate is why the rewards are less. So there is not, you can not tell even the dev fee reflect anything at all. That 0.5%, I don't think I'm gonna even notice, because it's went from 22 Caspa per miner in average for me to 2171, 2157. And so the hash rate went from 164 to 167 pentahash in average. So 3 pentahash increase, obviously it will reduce the reward of Caspa. So that's pretty much it for this video, although I was gonna show you guys Ks3M as well. So one of my Ks3M did not perform on that firmware, didn't take 6250, but my first one is actually been performing a lot better. And take a look, the first day I ran it, it actually, the increase of the network hash rate, it went, you know, like higher by 1.5 to almost 2 pentahash these days. But I mine more Caspa because of this new overclocks, and I'll show you guys here in a second. So on the web GUI, obviously you could see sometimes this hash rate going crazy, and it shows 64 average and 67 5-minute, which is insane, and obviously it's not what's on the pool. So what's important is to also consider what's the pool reporting, but I'm really happy with the pool report as well, because I get more reward obviously of Caspa on my on this miner. And take a look, it's 6.2 terahash, so it's probably even a little bit more than 6.2 in average, but I think it's just because it's restarted a couple times, it's kind of my 24 average got a little bit released down. But I think I'm gonna see around 63 or 6.3, 6.2 terahash in average, which is higher than what I used to have. I used to have 6.06 on this miner before, so now I'm performing on the 6250 version, which you can tell this is a new free firmware, by the way, the free firmware, and it's performing pretty well. My temperatures are good. My temps out on the boards are fine. So this ASIC running obviously on AC infinity fan. This way you don't overload your basically you want to make sure you don't overload your miner PSU. So I'm gonna show you guys right there. It's actually here, the first one. So I'm loaded to 3248 watts, which I still have about 200, at least 300 extra watts in this Ks3M. So I can try 6500 version after maybe a few days. I just want to make sure I make this one as stable, because it's restarted a few times and I know why exactly. I don't think it's firmware, but I want to make sure it's stable on the network. Then I can try 6500 version. But take a look at the power consumption, because I'm using AC infinity fan, so my miner only consumes I need to slide it over this whole thing. Yeah, sorry about that. You can't even see that miner. Okay, so it's at 3245. You could see Ks3M right here, right? And it's running on the 3248 watts total, right? So it's fluctuates a little bit, going up and down, but 3250, I think that's what it's doing. My second one though, always like under 3000. So my really guess there is that it's my PSU. That's old PSU with the 3 fans. Maybe cannot supply enough power to overclock this miner, and even it's not performing on the stock overclocks very well. So I'll have to change to 2-fan PSU at some point to make sure it runs the stock firmware first of all properly before trying to upgrade the firmware to overclock firmware. So anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you guys like it, and we'll see you on the next one.